all about the Janssen command line interface. Maybe something I will miss that the thing about Janssen. What is Janssen? Uh, so here is the about Janssen CLI and the installation process. How we can install it, and the operation mode. There are actually two type of operation mode. One thing is already know that command line, and another is very interesting. It's about menu driven interactive mode, where we can see what we are doing and what we can do. And another one is scheme management. And later we do some operation and some discussion. So if we talk about the Janssen CLI, so here I noted that the Janssen CLI is mainly a feature of Janssen server, as far as the Glow, which already said very clearly. It's another it's a command line tool for Janssen configuration. We can do all the things in Janssen server. It also supports menu driven interactive mode. And supported lots of command to make change in the Janssen server. So the all of things about Janssen CLI. Let's come the installation process. Actually, it supports two types. Like one is cloud native, and another is virtual machine. So right now, I did not try yet on cloud native version, but I just added the information how can we install this on cloud native. So first of all, we have to go into the supervisor, and then there is a file start demo shell script. We have to download it and give it to the permission to run, and that's just to run it. And if you run it, then a lot of file will download, and like Docker community edition and micro cloud native version. It is so and comes the virtual machine. I will talk about how we can set up in virtual machine and how we can using the virtual machine.
I have a question here. Sorry to interrupt. May I ask question during your presentation? Is that okay?
A little bit hard for me, but
all right.
No problem.
All right. Okay. So the thing is like, so there, whatever I have understood so far, there are two way of for this installation. One is cloud native, and another is virtual machine or standalone system. Okay. Yeah. So for cloud native, do we need any kind of? Is there any kind of recommended? Right. For VM, like 2 GB of machines or 4 GB or something like that.
So actually it's same goes to the Glow server right now, but yeah, the same thing right now actually.
Okay, so we'll need like 4 or 8 GB of physical memory for CPU and something like that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
And one thing is, as far as I know, that whatever it's cloud native or virtual machine, the operating system right now is Ubuntu 18 or 20.
Okay, 18 or 20. All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
So if we use the Python 3,
if I understood correctly, so currently Janssen only supported 2 operating system, 18 and 20, right?
Yes, it's Ubuntu 18 and 20.
Okay.
So if we use the command line python 3./install.py, then it will download all the things like Janssen setup, ZT version, Janssen auto like Python installer, Janssen auto installer. It's all everything will be download, and at the end it will comes like the Glow server when we set up, and it comes something asking later like what we going to the domain name, all the things like when we install the Glow server.
The questions from setup.py, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The question from setup.py. So operational mode, here comes in operational mode, two types already said. One is menu driven interactive mode, another is command line argument mode. Uh, so let's see the menu driven interactive mode. If we install successfully, then if you use the just a command line like opt /dan cli config cli.py, then it will comes like the menu you see. Here we see all the things you already have seen in Glow server, like attribute, default authentication method, cache configuration, then SMTP, logging, custom scripts, LDAP configuration, who's this, everything is there. So basically it's like we have seen, we're seeing what's in the display, and then we can select everything what we want to do. Like if we select the option 1 for attribute, then we can select one. I will do later I will do some operation later to clarify everything. Just here I show the how does look menu driven interactive mode.
Shakil, does it also contain passport? I'm not saying passport.
No. It's now
Passport.
only passport not added.
And also I think SML. SML also missing.
Right.
Yeah, SML also missing.
Right. Mohit,
It's now support is
basically for machine authentication, they don't go for like SAML thing or passport SAML. That's why we're trying to keep it as low as possible.
Okay.
From resource side.
Okay.
So now comes the command line mode. Command line mode is a little bit hard. Like we have to remember everything in command, because if we forget, then I have to use the. Also, we can use the helpline. It's like the same thing goes. Just one thing added. It's under /h -h. So it's come. It will display all the things we can do using the command line mode. You see, there everything here. It's a little bit harsh what's have been there to understand actually, but we'll do later using the command line. Another thing is scheme management. It's also added later. We can do using these things like can create user resources, group management, and FIDO devices. It also supports two things like menu driven mode and also the command line mode. So here you go. We can do some operation now. All right. Terminal is visible now.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So if we use the first thing like the menu driven mode, so here's the command line. So if we enter this, and it will come all the menu here. So as we said, it's just a selection method. We select each option and we go the next thing. Like if we select the, for example, the main menu from number 2 for the default authentication method, if we like to see what's inside the default authentication, then we can select option 2, and then just enter, and it will come like this. The another sub menu, or like here is we can see that one is gets default authentication method and another is update default authentication method. So gets here to display right now the default authentication what's in, and if we want to change or update anything, then we can choose the option 2. So let's see the what's in right now in the default authentication method. So select option 1. And it will retrieve the data using the API call, and you can see the default authentication method is now simple password authentication. So there are something tips we added in the documentation. We will show later from the GitHub. Just something I shared that if we since it's a selection method, so no command line, so there are some by default key that we can use to go where we can, like if we use the B for back, then we will back the previous menu. Here it is, and then if we again the back use, then it will come the main menu. It's something like in the button phone with some dial-up menu. Okay.
All right.
Is it understandable?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So use the back button to exist from the interactive mode. Now let's go with the command line mode for the config CLI. We're not using it the scheme CLI. So if we want to use the command line mode, then we first of all, let's see using the help menu first inside the command line mode. Then we can use two things like double hyphen then help, or single hyphen then h. So it's better, I think. So you see all right. So there's a lot of information we can use for configuration, like using the debug method, and info is actually used. If you look at there, that everything we see in the interactive menu also in there, like attribute, cache configuration, cache configuration, memory, in memory, cache configuration, memcached, everything is also in there. Just we have to use in different way if we would like to get the information about the same things. So like we want to get the again the default authentication method using the command line mode. Then first of all, we want to get the info about or information about default authentication method. So here it comes default authentication. I just copy it and paste it there. So sorry. All right. So let's skip the above line. If you look at there, we just use the command line here. Info default authentication method. Then we get two types of operation ID. So one is the get ACRs and another is put ACRs. So get ACRs mean we say using the interactive menu where we can see the default authentication method, and put ACRs mean the update or change the default authentication method. And if you look at there that the put ACRs, then you will find the schema which actually describe how we can put and in which way actually. So it define the method we have to follow to update or use this operation actually. Let's use the get ACRs method. All right. So I think it's becoming so hard actually.
No, it's perfect. I mean, the way you are presenting, it's awesome.
So if you look at the above, here I have used the help method and we got some information like here you see that the operation ID. So with this argument, we will use the each operation ID here. Like here we get two types of operation ID. One is get SCRs and another one put SCRs. So let use this operation ID to get SCRs. So what we'll use there, uh, same thing, right? So here operation ID, then the operation ID name. So operation name is here get SCRs, get SCR. Let's get also it's visible now that we'll see the default SCR is simple password authentication. Uh,
Nice.
So here it is now. All right. So one thing I have to share is that like this one, it's just added few days ago I think, and I don't know what is this. I tried and I just got nothing actually.
It's authentication, I guess.
Yeah, I guess also that, but I tried to get authentic, but I don't know what actually it's doing because I when I use this command line, it simply just show the interactive menu
Okay.
and if you
Uh,
input
maybe.
anything like username and password, okay,
Mhm.
it does nothing. It just show the interactive menu as far as I have tested last 2 days.
Right. That would be my next question. Like, do we know anything about the authentication or not yet? So.
It was asked by uh, I think Mike sir, and he had also created an issue, and
Mhm.
Mustafa Bashir sir also close, not I think not yet close. So he added a commit with something like this version, and I don't know yet. Actually, it does the same thing we would like to do, like for authentication. Basically, right now everything we just use a command line and it shows something. But I think we want to get like if we use this command and then it will ask for authentication first, right?
Right. It should.
But actually right now it does not. Actually it show the menu and also we can do everything command without authentication.
Okay.
So here it's the default from my side the operations, and it's a lot about of command we can use, and we have already discussed in our documentation. Can I show the GitHub documentation?
Sure.
All right. So github.com/. So if we, I'm just working on this. So here it is. One thing maybe I forget to mention that when we install the Janssen server, there is an option like the same thing goes Glow server like SML, IDP, uh, others. There is also same thing option like Janss config API. We have to mark this so that this CLI is to be installed.
Sorry, I think I didn't get that point. What you said, like we're going to cover the SAML IDP and something, or just the API? Which one?
To install the Janssen server. Then it will download
right.
all the things. At the end, it will ask something like setup.py, some to select which thing is going to be installed. There is an option to choose Janssen config API, should be there, and we have to mark this to install this Janssen CLI.
Okay.
So here, I add every day some of the topics there. So if we look there, some of the tips we already share here, like we can do back, forward, exist, and everything like.
That's nice.
All right. So here goes to the config CLI, and another, I think I forget to show the scheme CLI. So scheme CLI is the same thing. Just we have to use the another file, that is, if you see that scheme CLI.py. It also supports two things like interactive menu and also the command line mode. So if we just use this and it will show the menu of scheme management, you can see that there's user, group, video devices, video2 devices, and other things as well. So user is actually you guys know that what actually scheme do, right? So here the things like added in the user, like we can use the query for user resources. It will show all the user resources, how many users there, and what are the properties of each user. And it also allows creating a user resource via post method. Like we can use this menu to create a user resource, and also retrieves an user resource by its ID. And we can do the same things like update, create, and also delete and query. So let's do a query. It will ask something like which attributes we have to we want to show, and which just skip for default, and which attributes we don't like to show. We can use for exclude, and expression to filter actually for advancers. Start index, for example, a lot of users, so we can start from an index. It can be first or the middle or the last. And start index also an integer value, and count is also integer value. Count means the how many users resource we want to display, and sort by to sort by attributes, actually the which attribute to use to sort, and sort order is for like ascending and descending. So here are the properties for query user resources. We can skip all the things, and it's come with the default setup. And we can see here in user resource, you can see.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, so that was the scheme query. And if you back, we can also delete, just we need the ID, it's INAM value. But let's go back, and now let's see the command line mode here. It's the same like config CLI. the same thing goes here. Like if we use the info for user, then it will come some operation ID, lots of ID like the 7 get users, create users. Here is the get users, and then is create user, and then get user by ID. All the things like in the interactive menu. Same as it looks like there is a bug, like two line something. Okay. So
Okay.
if we use the operation ID here, get users as same as the config CLI, then we have to use the operation ID, then the ID name. So the ID name is get users, and it will show the same here all the users. It also supports the endpoint arguments to filter our advancers. Then we can use here the here it is the these arguments. We use these arguments, then we can uh, enter the filter method. Like let's see the endpoint arguments. Operation ID get users. Then if we want to use the advancers, like then we can use endpoint argument args. Then the attributes we have seen in the interactive menu. Like let's count one. Then it will display only the one user resources. Here you can see the total results is 1, start index 1. Okay, here is the so sorry. So that's all from my side about Janssen CLI. Actually, there's a lot of information you can that I have already shared in the documentation for also the interactive menu and also the command line interface.
Okay. So a nice presentation. I mean, from this point of view, I didn't know much about these operations things. I must admit.
Yeah.
So definitely, you are able to create some curiosity inside me. So I'll give a shot now. And one point, one suggestion, I think that those shortcuts, I mean, B for back and something like that. Don't you think
Yes.
we should add that, as banner in our CLI or something? Like it's Mustafa's job, like to let user know that
Yeah.
how you can go on the back side or on the previous state, right? So
If we want some features, like then we can ask to him,
okay.
and
Or-
we can also create some issue, and I think he can do that.
Yep. All right. Okay, great. So from my side, there isn't any question yet because I haven't tested this version, but I'll give a shot. And if I have any question or confusion, then I think I can reach the Janssen team and you as well. So great job, I must say. Mohit, if you have any question, you can ask here.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shakil, for presenting this knowledge to us. It was really great experience, and it's uh, it's really increase curiosity to me also to give a try to install a Jenkins Jensen project. and try give some more time on spend some time on it. So
All right.
if you have, just share me those documentation links. So I will
All right.
try a shot, whenever I get free. Maybe by
All right.
tomorrow on weekends, I will try to install it.
Thanks a lot, all of you, because I'm a bit nervous about what I should I say and what actually I